Okay, we good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. We will go into the repeat mode
Mm,
of our conversation. So look, Burani, let's start with there's no one listening anyway, so just you and me. I would like us to talk about, if you recall what you said for the first topic, which was the situation in Jakarta right now. You're dealing
mm,
with team members on a daily basis, obviously.
yeah.
You and I both shared about something that happened to you last week that you were dealing
Mm,
with. It seems like an ongoing thing that's happening in Jakarta, Indonesia.
mm.
Talk to me about this crazy time in Indonesia where jobs are hard to find. How are you navigating internal conversations? How are you navigating people looking for jobs right now?
Okay, basically, layoff is happening here and there, and then the hunting for the new job is getting more difficult from time to time. I believe it is not only happens in here in Indonesia or even specifically at Jakarta area, but also all over the world. Meaning that even I don't know, maybe I think I need to hear your opinion also, but remote working is also lower and slower, the opportunities right now. So if I might say that the uncertainty situation in the economics part, in the geopoliticals and also the war situation make it more harder for everyone.
And so how are you? So what is the impact of it on a person whose job it is to rally the energy and efforts around being a team member
The
right now?
people.
How are you dealing with that?
So well, I do still helping some organization that looking for a new opportunities and a new employee, but also at the same time, the number of the people that sending their CV to me is also getting a lot and a lot, but I cannot help them to find a new opportunity. Maybe if you see the news also around last month that the job opening happens, and then actually there is only around 2,000 jobs that open, but the people who come in is more than 20K people who's joining, and it's not only happening one job fair, but it happens in multiple job fair. That's what happens right now. So it's getting tougher and difficult. But of course, in the point of view of people who doing the hiring, I saw that there is a lot of opportunities to get a better talent. But with the numbers of people who also applying, that's not the real situation though. That it's getting difficult for the both for our organization and also for the employee itself.
So you mentioned that job fair thing, and I heard about that. I read about it.
Hmm.
I think in Indonesia in general there is this um, situation that has arisen where you have a lot of certainly the way I've read the conversation, a lot of manufacturing jobs, and let's call it blue collar, white collar. Let's call the difference
Mm.
there. A lot of
Yeah.
manufacturing type jobs have done a lot of the cutting and culling, and I think the job fair for me, from what I've read, seems like that's a lot of where that's coming from.
Yep.
But I guess you and I, our background, in spite of what's happening
Mm.
holistically around Indonesia, you're not dealing with those type of jobs. You've been in advertising marketing sectors, you are in the tech sector. What is it specifically? Is there a spillover effect from that? Can you talk more about your particular sector on where those gaps are?
I think the situation is quite the same. It's not only from the point of view of only the blue collar who got the impact of the situation. It is no longer only talking about that the manufacturing, the factories is now reduce the number of the employee, but it also happens to our base, our industry. Tech industry is also getting the impact of that. So I think it happens like not specifically on in a special or a specific market and industry, but it happens on all the market. So the numbers of hiring is getting lower, including like some company decided to freeze the hiring, even let go the team member, or maybe if it is not that like a really frontal on the decision, they can go with salary deduction, salary cutting, and all those process that it might quite similar with the situation when we deal with COVID back then, but now it's different, a bit different because I think most of us realize that we are not sure where that when we can get the situation come back to the normal one, because we still facing a lot of journey to get there to get all these problems solved so far.
So look, in this world of uncertainty that you mentioned, we are seeing together, and it's not just happening at a local level in Indonesia.
Yeah.
The one type of person who should be able to be giving answers is someone in your position.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying to you is you've given an opinion based on what we are already seeing from a market perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What are you hearing between your own fraternity within people in human resources, in talent acquisition, in headhunting, and all those types of people? What is the general sentiment right now in Indonesia, and maybe that might speak for a broader market beyond?
So basically, I think like we have several conference HR conference in like this month and previous month. So all the conversation is talking about that how we adopt technology to help us to move faster. But when it comes to the the people, then we know see that the numbers of the source in the market is quite large, but not all of them really meet our requirement. So there is a gap on that part, and also for all of us, it's now, I don't know, maybe not because we are picky, but we know that for certain level, we got difficulties on finding the right candidate or the right talent to be hired. So the demand is there, even not that huge, that big, and the supply is also there, but it's not meet what we need for now. So it's also getting difficult for us in HR to make the decision and to recommend the right candidate for any opening job opening. So yeah, the gap is there. We need to be realized with that.
Okay, so let me paint you a scenario then. Okay, so let's say you have a candidate who's had 10 years of experience
Mm-hmm.
throughout his or her life,
Yeah.
and at various points throughout his or her career, they've been able to find a place where they fit in, or they can, they work into, whether it's based on salary conversation, talent conversation, upskilling, this and that. That's all part of the nature of what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That constant supply hasn't changed. That supply is the same. So then my question to you is it because the industries that maybe particularly you are in, uh, actually, I don't believe that, but I'm just posing it this way. I don't think it's necessarily the industries you're in, but how can it happen that an industry flow in which you look at a workforce? So you know that there's always going to be an X amount of new people coming into the industry, and they have to move up to the next stage, next stage, next stage. Yes, the funnel gets smaller and smaller the more specialized you get. But essentially, what's happening now is it's not even about specialization. There's just a lot of big mass in this median area now where people are not getting hired. Now, I've heard what you said. You said, if I'm quoting you correctly, you said, uh, we are not finding enough candidates to fit the brief. My word,
Yeah.
not yours, but that's just the way I'm interpreting it. My question to you is this. Are you is your role and people in human resources, human capital right now, are their role very much based on Well, I can only do what I can with the brief that I'm given to fill a role.
Mm.
Number one, sorry, that's part A. Part B, surely that roles are put in place based on the market, the human capital market that you have. Why is there such a big difference?
Okay, maybe because of the technology adoption that happens here and there. And that's also the situation that we're dealing with the talent right now because what we looking, this is also based on World Economic Forum research that's saying that now the job in the market is no longer the same. Even the same title that you saw, 2 years ago, has the different requirement that what they need really on daily by now. So there is an also changes on that. So by the way, in HR world, it's also that we do starting to adopt the technology. We use the AI technology. We adopt the same. We have plenty of tools that helping us to support us, and that's also happens on the job for all the candidate that we are helping the organization to hire. So it is no longer, for instance, if we are talking about let's say copywriting, the copywriter, it is no longer only about writing the content, preparing all the details about the brand, but it's also how they do the research, how they then strengthen the brand with what applied in the market right now. And sometimes those are the gaps that needs to be sharpened from the candidates. And so the requirements getting higher because we tap on the technology needs on that part. And some candidate it's still using their previous requirement if they are applying, meaning that this is the moment for everyone to do the upskilling, to learn better, to go up, adding more skills. So they will have a uniqueness that can help them to win the competition better. And I
And
think not
who's going to
everyone
pay
is
for that?
ready.
Who's
Yeah.
going to pay for the upskilling?
So it depends. Some organization is ready to, they realize that the situation is changed. We are talking about our industry, yeah. So in our industries, some agencies are already prepared that hey, we need to change the way we approach the business. We need to change the way we sell our services to clients. But some of them is not ready yet. So for those who are ready, usually they already make a plan on how they do the upskilling and reskilling. Remember, by the result of the research based on the World Economic Forum that happens previous in the January this year, it's always already mentioned that by 2030, there will be certain job that is no longer available in the market. And the second one, what the market needs is quite different with what our talent has right now. So this supposed to be if the company is ready, then they will also already prepare the team, either do the reskilling, learning something new, or going up to do the upskilling if the
And
organization
I get
ready.
it.
Yeah.
You're talking about long-term projections on how the workforce is going to change over the years,
But it's
basically.
also yeah, but it's yeah, of course, because in this current situation, the transition is already happened. So maybe you also heard that some agencies now they already adopt the AI technology as part of their services. They work closely with all the providers, and some of them is not really ready yet, including to prepare their team, their employee to go to to that level. So if then you're talking about agency, we know that some agencies now struggling because they still only based on their, the previous success of the stories, their previous achievement, while client is no longer in the needs of that.
Right. And so you're talking about a current workforce for an organization. I guess my question is more about what about, because we started this conversation about the lack of finding suitable candidates to fit the brief that you have.
Mm-hmm.
When I was saying who's paying for the upskilling, I didn't mean your answer was based on. Here's what corporations are doing. Corporations are incorporating these steps. They are
Yep.
upskilling their workforce, blah, blah. And I get that. My question was more about from a recruitment point of view. Who is who is who is advising people who are on the other end of recruitment, the candidates, about upskilling? Who's paying for that change? Because it's a chicken and egg situation.
Mm-hmm.
You've got corporations where they are running,
Provide you,
the,
right?
the train
Mm-hmm.
is going, and they have to quickly update the engine in order to keep up with
Mm-hmm.
things. But then on the other hand, you've got candidates who, let's say, perhaps they are complacent and they haven't adapted to the times.
Yeah.
Who is advising them right now? Because at the end of the day, the responsibility is for someone in human capital, is it not? Because if you're not also cultivating what they should be doing, then you're going to end up with a bottleneck,
Yeah.
correct? I
Yeah.
my assumption is you guys are fucking stuck in a bottleneck. And the bottleneck is stuck because corporations are doing one thing and no one's giving a shit about the people who are looking for the job. So
Mm-hmm.
what's happening that to close that gap so that you guys don't end up running around like headless chickens?
So basically, it's also like a part of our role to communicate to this talent that, hey, you need to upgrade yourself. By what? By having an access for them to reach out to us. Whether, you maximize your LinkedIn profile, connecting with a lot of people, learn from the timeline, not only checking on your TikTok, who seeing people dancing, and then Instagram for some artist gossip, right? So utilize the technology, utilize the link that you had to enrich yourself. Because if you are the candidates, the best way to do that, to make sure that you are seen by us who wants to hire you, meaning that you need to be available for reaching out to us, that and you are care to reach out to get more feedback and more insight. So I think a lot of HR nowadays is also like a really approachable, and they are willing to, if you send message to them asking why my profile is not good enough, what is, and then during the interview you can also get a feedback from the one who talked to you and mention like a, in which part that I need to improve myself. This kind of questions, if you throw out to your interviewer, then they will give you the answer. They will give you the feedback. Oh, you need to improve in this skill and this skill. And that, if the candidates is really aware that this is the time for them to evaluate themselves, then they can go. And a lot of free course that can help them also. So nothing is always like a lot of tools that they can access, they can check, and they can utilize that to empower themselves.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a real life example, okay?
Mhm.
Let's say you work at an ad agency.
Mm,
When you're head of HR at an ad agency, you are dealing with account servicing, strategic
mhm.
planning,
Yeah.
graphic designers,
Mhm.
creative people, art directors, copywriters. But you're also dealing with finance, you're dealing with IT, a lot of different
Mhm.
things. So now here's my scenario to you. The solution you just posed. Let's say I am a guy in finance, right?
Mhm.
I'm an accountant. I've got an accountant background, and a
Mhm.
lot of my role can be supplemented these days with AI.
Yeah.
If you tell me that I have to be out there and dance on TikTok to make sure that I get noticed because you will notice me, the quality of a finance person who's good at numbers is not connected to that. So don't you think that model is flawed if that's the advice for people who are not meeting? What I'm saying to you is in the case of specifically finance,
Mhm. Mhm.
finance can be replaced overnight with AI in many, many ways. What do you tell that candidate? You can't tell them, hey, upskill and be noticed. Like sometimes a role like that is an introverted role. It's not an extroverted
Mhm.
role. How
Mhm.
do you fill the gap for people like that?
So what I mentioned previously is that build your network. You need to reconnect with the people that can support your growth. So it is not, that's I mentioned that it is not about like a showing to people and you dancing along with their TikTok or like tap in on the conversation in the Instagram that talking about the artist gossip or something like that. But use your network to grow your skill. That will help you a lot because like this channel,
How do
let me
I
talk about
how do I
yeah.
who is a finance person
Mm-hmm,
who's very very good with numbers,
mm-hmm,
who has a network, because I had the network before this situation came about. I still have a network. I'm still growing my network because I want to get a job.
mm-hmm.
It's a genuine question. What is it that I should be doing that's different than what I'm already doing? Like I'm really really good at finance, but I'm not good at, you know what? I'm not good at networking. But because I'm a junior to mid-level person and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just very very good at one skill set, and that particular skill set is being replaced, what do you say to them?
Again, this is about reskilling, meaning that your skill right now will be easy to be replaced by the tools. So, meaning that you need to learn something new. You need to grow. That's why using your network will be the best, one of the best option. Why? Because there is a lot of group either in Facebook. I don't know if people still play using Facebook, but yeah, Facebook has a lot of group that strengthen for career. LinkedIn is also inside of LinkedIn. You connect to the senior people, the senior finance people, for instance, and then you follow for those people who really actively sharing the stories. You can see on their posts and you can tap in, connect to them. So be open and talk to people with the same background. Like a lot of WhatsApp group is also happening as back then, like everyone using the mailing list, but now even WhatsApp group is meaningful for HR. For instance, HR has a lot of WhatsApp group that become the community that for us to discuss each other, learning about new things, if there's any conference or any training that available in the market, then people can start sharing there. And if you're willing to grow up, then you can join that. And also we share like a profile of the employee, profile of potential team member that we might need. Someone can just throw it. For instance, if I'm looking for a creative people right now, I'm using my WhatsApp group. I connect with them and I say, hey, I need this kind of position is now is open in my place. This is the requirement. If you can recommend anyone, just DM me or forward my message to them so they can apply directly to the email. That's the way I connect with people. And that's the way also the candidate can goes and, getting recommendation or getting a new point of view and meet the new people and learn from other people with a similar background will help them.
Okay, we'll go to the informal topic. Listen, you and I have a mutual love of a few things. So, informal topic, we usually talk about things that are not related to advertising, but it brings out the passion of the guest. And I think for you, it sounds like uh, I know you have at least one daughter that I know of. Maybe you have more
Yeah.
than one child.
Mm.
But you have a zoo of other things in your life. Talk a little bit about that and how it feeds you and how it's part of your passion.
Yes, I have 7 dogs right now. So it's a complete family gang. And they are one of the reason that helping me to maintain my situation. The work situation is not always easy. We deal with a difficult situation, and then when I come home, I just need to lay down on the floor, and I let them coming to me, playing with me, disturb me, and then that also already remove the negativity that I bring. So it's part of the my sanity check every day, like playing with the 7 dogs.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me. Okay. So okay, what you mentioned is how it helps you kind of de-stress,
Mm-hmm.
relax after the things that you have to deal with. Uh, as a Muslim Javanese woman who for whom dogs are right. How do you
Hindi boleh
contend with that
begitu.
as because as a woman? you're not like a Gen Z. I mean, you look like a Gen Z, but you're not
Thank
exactly
you.
like a kid who's like a
Mm,
modern. You come from a different culture in Indonesia.
mm.
How do you contend with that?
Well, of course, I have one sterile room for the praying that we keep it that way. Even all those dog knows that they are not allowed to go inside that area, but all other places in the house is free for them. They even sleeping in my bed with me and my husband. So it is okay. They can play all along, and I don't limit their access because you know, every time, even just in a meeting like this, and then they hear that I am saying loudly, saying, okay, thank you, bye. And they will come to me. Every one of them then will ask me to hug them. Or even they know if I do an online meeting, they will come to me and ask me to bring them and showing them to the people that I'm speaking. So it's part of the happiness, and that's part of also that something strengthen the relationship in the family. All of us like the dog sells the answer of any creativity needs that we needs in the house. And so yeah, they know exactly that. And maybe it's quite strange for people with a the Muslim background like me, but hey, who am I to judge? This is my life, and I know that how I try to put everything in place, and I'm happy with what we have in the family, and we love them. I lost your voice.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question that's a little bit related to me as a guy who's a dog lover. One of the things I was really surprised when I was living in Jakarta was you can have dogs in apartments in Jakarta. And look, I get it. I get it. Like you can any apartment building can make their own rules, like whether you have
Yeah.
dogs or not. But you can have dogs in villas and landed properties,
Mm,
houses,
mm,
things like that.
mhm.
What is the what is the what do you feel about, sorry, why do you think there should be a separation of church and state? Excuse the term I'm using, between like why can't offices have like things like that, dogs? Like for example, in Bali, I have visited some companies, well, international companies, but with a lot of local people in it, where there are dogs in the office and things like that. Has there never been a culture of that in Jakarta ever, where dogs are allowed?
Um,
It-
some office already have that, especially if they are in their own building. My daughter uh, used to bring one of our dogs with her to the office, even using Gojek, like carry the puppies and bring it to office, and like they will play the whole day. Even she is leaving for a meeting, that the dogs will stay with a friend. So, if the office is really their own building, it will be more easier. But if you go to the big the office building, then of course it will not be allowed. But some of the offices already adopt that. Even now, like some mall is already giving the access for us to bring the dogs, especially
no,
in
you
the
have to put
weekend.
it in a cart. You have to put
No,
it,
some
like
no,
they can
no.
walk next to you.
Yes, they can walk
Which
next to
mall?
me with a leash, and also putting the diapers.
Which mall?
Senayan Park happens to have that access, and then some mall at around my area and the BSD area is also allowing it to do it. So it's more free right now.
That's good.
So there you will not only see dogs, you can see cats. Some of them bring the iguana. I hope I won't meet someone who brings snake. I really don't I really don't deal with snakes. But yes, they give an access for us, the visitors, to bring our animals
Okay,
with
good.
us.
So glad to see the sentiment is changing gradually with the culture in Jakarta. Because again,
Mhm.
obviously Bali doesn't have this problem in many ways. Burani, help me out. What do you see is a problem right now that we have? I'm struggling right now with a job market that feels like I'm getting left behind. I'm trying my best. What can someone in a position with all your years' experience tell me? Give me advice. And by the way, uh, I will do you one better. You can even jump into Bahasa for parts if you need. I won't be able to know what you're saying, so don't say "fuck you, Zayed." But you know, feel free to jump in because again, I think TikTok is going to be where this is going to be really living, and I want to really be able to concentrate your advice to them, but also on Instagram. Obviously, I
Mhm.
can only put the English stuff on Instagram, but use 10 minutes to just really appeal to the people who are going through these things.
Okay, so basically, what we deal right now is that it is no longer the same. Situasinya tuh nggak pernah sama lagi gitu. Zaman berubah, teknologi berubah. What be the most important part yang paling penting yang harus kita lakukan saat ini adalah bagaimana kita beradaptasi or how we adapt with the situation. It is no longer as easy as before, yes, of course, but it is not also that difficult. The most important part yang kita harus lakukan adalah as a talent, especially that you need to be agile. You need to be emotionally understand the situation, the changes. And of course, everyone will say harus bisa adopting teknologi dengan baik gitu. You need to adopt the technology and be a tech savvy. And then you have purpose in your life gitu. Itu yang harus dipunyai dan itu yang dituntut dari semua kandidat. But in reality, we know that kalau cuman diomongin, kalau cuman disampaikan dalam kata-kata, ini cuman kata-kata yang indah aja untuk dengar. This will only be words that you hear. Oh, this is nice that we can say that, we can do that. But in reality, kita harus tahu bahwa not all community, companies is really ready for that. Dalam artian apa? Nggak semua company ataupun individual or even like the community yang kita punya itu mengerti bahwa what we need for the young generation especially adalah how we have a mentor yang helping us to go to that level, to achieve that, to be someone with those skills. So more to how we focus on mentorship, how we have the human connection that really, really a real human connection, and how we understand the culture that now keep changing. We need to move faster than ever. So the gap, it is not only about like giving a training or getting a training, but also about how we build the environment or the ecosystem that people needs to feel supported and then grounded and then strong and become part of it. In bahasa we call it how we merangkul mereka untuk bisa kerja bareng, untuk bisa merasa bahwa this is my safe zone. This is the place where I feel welcome and I know that I can learn from the mentor. So if talking about community, make sure that you empower yourself and the people that joining the community with the same spirit, the same energy. It is not easy. Of course, the situation is never been easy. It's getting tougher and harder, of course. But surrounding yourself with the people that will support your growth, yang akan selalu hadir dan mendampingi dan understand the situation, then it will help you to survive. So, as us, the senior people in the community, then why don't we do our part untuk membantu mereka bersiap untuk menghadapi keadaan yang might be not that easy, but it's not also that difficult if you have the people that surrounding you and support you. So let's do our part to support the young generation. Become a mentor, become someone to talk to. Open yourself, become reachable for them will be very important. That's what I believe for now. And I believe that that will help us to be ready for the next challenge and how we can help them to adapt with the situation.
So Burani, I love that. I think you're right. That is the way to move. Certainly with people in senior responsibilities like yourself. Can I ask on behalf of these people, these young people who feel a bit jaded in what's going on right now? Do you feel like I understand what Burani's saying, because Burani is that's Burani's role. That is the makeup of what she and people in her specialization is about. But do you have the support of the people who have put you in charge of this right now, as the pressure is coming from the corporate overlords on, well, this is the way we're doing things?
Sorry, hang on 2 minutes
That's
because
okay.
yeah. So I think what really sharp me make me who I am right now is because I have people that support me the same. So it is like I'm trying to do the same because this is my give back to society. I believe you and I growing the same age when we watch Pay It Forward. So this is something that I receive in the beginning of my career. I got them. I got my mentor. I get the people that support me. I got my support system. All of them is also an HR people. So I have someone to talk to if I'm in the difficult situation. And I want to create that kind of environment. And I believe that everyone is now is willing to do the same like me. It's not only Rani who do that, but I know that a lot of people willing to do that to create a supporting system
I
for
get it.
all the
My
young.
question isn't so much about, again, this is not a question on what you might be doing. It's a question about, do you think that people, how about this? How about this? Let's put it in a realistic way. Uh,
Mhm,
as you are getting more and more experienced in your role, you find yourself in positions with corporations where you are dealing with people who are running the show, who are not
mhm,
of that same generation, who are younger, who don't understand the thing
mhm,
that you said. You said you and I, we understand the whole page. I get it. You and I get it. But sometimes you're going to have to report to people who don't know that stuff. My question to you is, how do you deal with that and bring them into it? This is now, it's no longer about Ronnie down, it's about Ronnie up. How are you dealing with that? Are you finding there is understanding there? Are you finding it's more difficult to convince them on, let's not lose our fundamentals of what is the right way of cultivating talent, etc.? You know what I mean? Like, you've been doing this for at least 10 years.
mhm.
So in the 10 years you've been doing it, there's been different generation of bosses and
Yeah,
people who are running the show, and they are getting younger and younger,
yeah. Mhm.
as you are too.
Thank you.
How are you dealing with the people who don't know the thing that you and I grew up with?
Well, if we are talking about the generation like a directly below us, younger than us, they actually learn from us a lot. So even if I'm dealing with the youngest generation, they understand and they also talk like in terms of the values and culture because for them that's also what helped them to be who they are right now. And I believe that this generation maybe has a different way on seeing things, but they are willing to learn and listen. So back again and how we then can explain the story behind, they will listen to that. So I until now I don't have any difficulties on make them understand because for them, for this younger generation, what important the most for them is that I'm working with someone that helped me to grow. I'm working with someone that has value in their life that similar with my values. So far like that's how. So if you see like some of the now that the post in the Instagram and the TikTok, they will always say that people resigning not because the company but people resigning because of the boss, right? I think you see that a lot. So the more they feel engaged, valued, and they have something to learn to from their bosses, their leaders, they will stay. So I think the best way is how we tell the story about the why we managed to do this, how we then prepare everything and involve them on the process. They will see that, they will value that, and they will understand that. what they need to do in their future. That's how I deal so far in the environment. So of course, young generation has the way of seeing things maybe different because they are not going with the same life journey like us, but they value and they see that as long as I can contribute, everyone have the opportunity to do their best also, and they see that as an opportunity for them to join the dance and join the conversation that happens. That's also the best way to empower the young generation. Don't forget to listen to their feedback.
Before we get into joining the dance, one last question,
Yes.
which is you've been privileged enough to have worked in multiple sectors. You've worked in advertising, you worked in marketing, you worked in tech, you worked in fintech, if I'm not mistaken, as well,
Yeah.
e-commerce
Correct.
as well. Do you find management leadership is different from one sector to the other in terms of adopting your mantra of how to look after
The
the
people. Mm. Well, this is actually my secret. But let me share it to you. That for me, I will only move or working with people that they know that their team member is a valuable factor of the organization.
Okay, so
If
I'm going to stop you for just 1 second.
yeah,
Maybe take yourself out of it. My question is, do you find in Indonesia certain sectors are performing worse than others in terms of your mantra? Answer it that way. It's not about Rani. I understand that Rani is going to make a decision based on what
mm, mm,
she looks at the values are being met. But I'm
mm.
saying from a sector point of view in Indonesia, in Jakarta, do you think some sectors are doing it worse than others?
Um, I think the most sectors is having the same understanding and the same approach when it comes to the people. So they will see the people as part of the their asset, and I think it's again it's become on how the leader seeing it, because as we know, by right now, by this year especially, I met a lot of leaders who feels that I have to add more fuel to my team. I want them to grow faster and then become the most valuable asset of the organization. So the way they see the people is not something that I use like just utilize them, no, but they know that if they want to the business to grow, they need to grow the people. So I met a lot of leaders with that kind of mindset. And if I have to say that by this year, I don't see any leaders who come with a different perspective. Have
You're
those
telling me you
touching
haven't seen
things.
a sector doing worse than others?
No, no, no. Because by this year, I got 25 new clients asking my help to develop their team. No one is saying, no, I have to let go the people. Yes,
I'm,
the business is
that's what I'm
suffering,
saying.
but
I didn't
yeah.
mean you. That's what I said. I didn't mean Rani. I meant, do you see some people are just not meeting the mark because they're clueless? That's what I'm saying. Remove yourself from
No,
it. You think
no,
everyone is open. So
because we know the
all companies
situation
are doing very well in the space of human
for
capital.
now. For now, they know that they need to improve their self. Otherwise, they have the business to be closing down. That's the situation. That's what we see everywhere in the market. A lot of conference, even like a small company from Sulawesi, the very far away, they will come. They will send the team to come to say, "Hey, I need to improve my team. I need to grow the team because now I'm I'm late. I'm getting left behind." And they know that this community strengthened them. They realize that from all the point of view. I never found anyone that say, "No, I don't want to develop the team." No. This year I never found that. Maybe last year, yes, some of them. And now they're sinking. They are now become DPO that the government looking for them around. Like all those Investry, Tani Hub that got coached last week. So all the leaders with a different mindset, they see the failure that they have to face right now. So if talking about this year, no. I don't meet anyone with those negativity. I didn't meet anyone with the negativity.
Okay, good. I'm glad I pushed you on that. I got something more interesting out of you just now. That's good. Then that's nice. What I'm saying is maybe me being an asshole there might help for the clip. Okay. Speaking of dancing the dance,
Mm,
um, I always do this with all guests, which is 10 minutes of you, 10 minutes of Ronnie, and I
mm.
always tell guests, you got to tell me something that I don't know about you. I've known you for so long. We've been friends for a while, and uh, with a lot of guests, I can see a lot of things about them, even I don't know them. I can read about them, but sometimes you don't get the full picture. So I do this to everybody.
Okay.
Tell me something that surprises me about you that maybe people might be shocked or do a spit take when they realize this is what Ronnie is about. Besides dogs
Okay. So,
and besides the purple hair.
yeah, I'm Ranny. I have a purple hair. I have dogs. But beside of that, I'm not sure whether you realize or not, but I was thinking not to be an HR or going to psychology, studying psychology back then. But I was thinking about become a performer. I want to be an artist because I love to dance. I love to sing. I love to play music, and I even got my dance certificate as not as a dancer, but as someone who teach dance when I was in a high school. So I got the license, I got the certificate to even create my own dance studio at that time. But then my dad saying that no, you cannot do that. You can only do dancing and singing as part of your hobby, but not as your work. So without his blessing, then I switched to learn and study about psychology. So it's end up to be my hobby only.
You okay, so that's great. I think that's I mean, I'm always in awe of people who can sing and dance and because I got two left feet and the voice of a chicken. But has okay, two questions. Do you think I'm sure you're going to say there is no regret on pushing forward what you're doing now because it's meaningful to your life and the way it's manifested in the way it's come out today. But is there anything that you feel your passion for that comes into what you do today that you can bring in to the way you deal on a day-to-day basis, in this case with human capital?
Okay. I think that helped me to sharp my communication skills back then. So another a story that back then I my leader saying that I am to marketing person, not an HR person, because I have a good communication skills. But that came because I sing in front of people, I dance in front of people, so I have to have the ability to bring my emotional side as something that become part of the show. So using that, having that skill helps me to approach people when then I have to have a conversation with the employee. I can utilize the skills that you can be very open to me. I'm approachable. I will talk to you directly. I will listen to you. Those kind of skills help me to understand the situation that the talent needs to share their story to me, the burden that they had. And that helps me a lot on understanding other people's minds. If then um, they have something to tell, but they cannot do it to other people. So that helps me a lot on understanding better about the people and my team that want to talk to me. So I utilize that a lot. So being this personality helping me to, I don't know, maybe they people will say that you really a social butterfly, you have those energy, but that helps me a lot to helping others. That's the most important thing.
Personal question, do you still dance?
I am. I'm still dancing. I'm still learning a lot of new, especially the traditional dancing, because you know
What kind of dance?
I love uh, I do Japanese dance with a lot. Back then, I know how to dance above those. I don't know how to say it in
Say it in
English, but there
Bahasa.
is ada tarian, ada dance yang we do di atas kendi. So it's like a the traditional tools gitu. Then so I dance on top of that, standing with a very small part of it. I can share you the picture later on. That also I do. So I dance as a boy performers, as a women performers. I do that all the time. I still dance, I still sings all the time, and that helped me to even reduce my stress from time to time. So if I got too tired, then sometimes if working on a weekend is really packed, right? So I just grab my selendang, I'm using it, and I dance. I play the music and I dance. That helps me to manage and to make myself content and focus.
That and some dogs. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Burani,
Of
have a
course.
nice evening. Good
You
night.
too. Bye
Bye.
bye.